grow closer to God?
Oh, I think that the way that you grow closer to God is the way that you grow closer to anyone. You have to communicate and spend time. Sometimes we try to make our relationship with God different than a relationship with anybody else, and it's really not. You have to pray and read your word. That'll actually help you grow closer to the Lord.
Where do you get your strength from? Because it's not easy.
I love this. It's not easy because, hello, what is it? It is everything. I get my strength from the Holy Spirit. When I was younger, I feel like the Lord was teaching me how prayer, studying my Bible, and like connecting with Him was a part of His plan, right? For me, to grow me and to keep me alive, basically. But then I realized as time went on that there was a more holistic plan that the Lord really had. He adds as we go. And so I am now experiencing what community and service and spiritual disciplines like fasting and silence can also do to help in those instances. I know we look at prayer and fasting as spiritual disciplines, but I don't think we look at community as a spiritual discipline. Community is a spiritual discipline. You have to discipline yourself to stay engaged and be a part of community. It is easy to give up on people and be like, I'm done. I'm getting out of here. I'm sick of y'all. Y'all stupid. Y'all don't like me. I don't like you. It's very easy to do that. It's very difficult to stick with people and have hard conversations and say, you know, when you said that, that hurt my feelings. Or, you know, I'm sorry. It's discipline to apologize when you're wrong, to look at yourself, to go after having a conversation where you thought you were so right and you were going to tell them everything. Then you hear their side of their point of view. It's discipline to not just shut out what they're saying and go with whatever you had. It's discipline to come into a conversation with somebody and being actually open and willing to listen to what they're going to say. It's discipline to actually want restoration and healing and reconciliation. That's discipline. And I don't think we always look at it like that. We would rather, and mind you, many people don't pray, which is problematic. Many people don't pray, but I think we would rather go into a room by ourselves and get on our knees and pray and talk to God than actually talk to people, which a lot of the issues that we're dealing with have to do with our relationships with people. Many of us haven't learned how to deal with people, how to be okay, right? To make good decisions, to say no. I'm not giving into the pressure to do whatever you're asking me to do. I'm going to stand and be. We don't always know how to do that. And then we get into situations that we end up praying about when sometimes we can work through that stuff so that when the things come that really need some prayer and attention, and then we can pray and fast on those things. Does that make sense? I know I can't hear y'all talking back to me, but do it make sense? Respond in the comments, because I gotta know why we don't look at, you know what? I have a bone to pick. Oh, I have such a bone.
Pick it.
It's like a beef bone. It's a marrow bone. It's like, but not like an oxtail bone, because those is little. Anyway, everything we need, God has given us. God has given everything pertaining to life and godliness, right? God has given us that. And I don't think we always recognize that it happens in people. We get it when somebody recommends us for a job or whatever, but I don't think that we get it when it comes to building and growing our character. I used to spend a lot of my time in my prayer closet on the floor, crying and praying and sweating and rolling around. And honestly, it was some of the most beautiful time. I'm not mad at it. Beautiful, amazing time with Jesus. But you know what? All of that I thought I got had to be tested when I got into real life with people. You can say that you're patient in the, on the floor in the room with Jesus. It's hard to be patient when your 2-year-old is freaking out in the middle of the mall and you're trying to just buy the rest of these Christmas gifts for their behind and they cutting up in the store. You know what I'm saying? When you get into life, that's when those things are actually tested. That's when we need to call on the Lord and be able to commune with Him and hear His voice in those moments as well. And the Lord is not just desiring that we hear Him in the secret place. We need the secret place. We need time away. Yes, we should never have that taken from us. But Jesus said, I do what I see the Father doing. So I'm walking with Him every day. I'm walking in the Spirit so I don't gratify the lust of the flesh. That's a real thing. But we would rather sometimes just be alone. No, when you're walking in the Spirit, you're walking with brothers and sisters. That is important. Nothing grows, nothing changes without that. We can look at those prodigal sons. That older brother, he was fine But when it came to his brother, that's when he had a problem. Oh no, I'm mad. Yeah, because this is the point of contention. And a lot of us are desiring a good life or thinking that our life is not good because we're at a point of contention with our brothers and sisters. And the Lord is like, no, but I want to teach you something. I want to grow you. But you keep running away from the opportunities and the moments where I can actually teach you, change you, and restore you, and build you up, and grow you for real, heal you, set you free from some things. You won't be set free if you keep running. All right, I'm done. Not me fussing at the whole world.
Like Mama Raine.
No, because I'm mad about it. We always want to run away and pitter-patter to somewhere else and then mess somebody else up. You're going from one community to the next.
Because it's easier.
Because it's easy. So you can pretend to be somebody else for 3 to 6 months, right? You can't pretend after 6 months, a year and a half, people start to show who they really are. And you're going to run into the same problems. You're the same you. You're bringing you everywhere. There has to be something that gives. And I wish sometimes that we would trust the community that we've been placed in. Are we going to trust God or not? Don't tell me that 3 months ago, God told you to be at a place and now all of a sudden you got to go. Either God is God or he's not, you know? And I'm like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of us being fooled. I'm not even sick of us. I'm sick of the devil because he lies and distracts us and gets us off target. When you're on the road to healing, it's easy for people to forget the purpose. Like, what's my destination? Because we're looking at the current situation or the current terrain that we're walking through. We got to keep our eyes on the prize. Well, this is the reason that I'm here. This is what God is trying to do with me. And the good thing about God is that generally he's gracious enough to tell us what he wants to do with us in a space. It's many times that we forget the actual destination because of the current place that we're in.
How do you find out what your calling is from God?
That's such a deep thing. Your calling is the specific thing that you are meant to do in the earth. That is not just one thing though. And it can change over different courses of your life. God can do that a couple of ways. He can either send you a direct message. He can send someone to you to anoint you for a specific task or a specific thing. You can pray and ask the Lord. Many times the Lord does it by just giving you certain gifts, certain talents, certain skills and abilities and a passion on the inside of you that you love. And as you nurture it, doors begin to open. I don't think it's always like, Moses, come to me in the bush. But then also, sometimes it is.
What got you into serving devotedly to God? What's your story?
I know people always ask, like, what's your story? How did this come about for you? For me, that's difficult because I can literally give you 20 stories of God's hand in my life, his faithfulness, him showing me who he is, him bringing me to another place. I know that there was a moment when I was 9 years old. I was in a service and my pastor was talking about forgiveness and it hit me. I was holding some unforgiveness toward my father. My dad had bought me a kite and he was like, no, I think it was for my 9th birthday. He was like, we're gonna go fly it in the park. And so, of course, my dad works, busy, tired, homework, all the stuff. So there were like days and stuff that went in, probably weeks, that went in between us actually being able to really fly it. Plus, I'm born in April, it's still a little cold around that time in New York. So we probably didn't get out till probably like June or so. But by the time we got out, it was a nice windy day. It was like perfect. So I was excited. We go down to the park and we're gonna fly the kite. And I remember my dad, taking out the kite and I wanted to do it, but he was like, I'll do it for you. And I remember watching him and being like, wait, daddy. Like I kept saying like, wait, because sometimes the string is taped to the spool and sometimes it's not. And so if you're not careful, like it'll, get away from you. You might lose the kite. And I remember just being like, no, wait. And he was just moving fast and the kite was not taped and it ended up getting blown away and getting stuck in a tree. I remember in that moment being like it was such a disappointment for me, but I remember being angry and like holding it against him and like, you ruined my kite day. Like I lost the kite and I just kept feeling like if I had done it myself, then it would have been fine. I remember in that moment that I was in this service and my pastor was talking about forgiveness. I thought about my dad. The Lord showed it to me, like, this is a point. You've been holding unforgiveness against your father, and I've forgiven you. And the Lord started to show me just things that I've done wrong and all of that, and how his forgiveness had been for me. He was telling me that he had forgiven me for things that I wouldn't even yet commit. I remember this as a young girl, and it really rocked me. And I began to weep. I accepted Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. And I ran to my dad after service and I was like, Daddy, I forgive you. I remember that moment because I think it marked the beginning of my understanding of grace, of forgiveness, of this walk with the Lord. Now, of course, I was 9. You know what I'm saying? So there are other moments where I'm like, oh, I mean, you could have asked me, I get saved like every 2 years. You know, I'm like, oh, Jesus, you're real. You know, 2 years later, oh my God, you're amazing. You're real. You know, it's just that kind of relationship with the Lord. You just keep discovering him, and he keeps uncovering his kindness. No pun intended.
Well, thanks for chatting with us today. We really loved all your answers and can't wait to talk to you again and have more questions for you maybe for the holidays. Okay. Bye.